Welcome, everybody. Good morning.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We so value your support in this. Uh, today, today we're going to be talking with Jerrid Sebesta. He is a incredible individual. Met him about 2 months ago at Arjun's happiness. What was it called, Jerrid?
Better Human Project.
The Happy Humor Human Project, and Amberly Lago, who we interviewed a few months ago, was there and met Jerrid, and I was just blown away with his speaking and motivation. He wrote the book Life-Undeferred, great little book. We're going to talk about that. He's worked for Dave Ramsey's company. Everyone knows Dave Ramsey's. He's been a TV weather guy in a couple places around the country, and he has spent 2 decades in high pressure fields that now help, but now he's helping leaders and teams break through stagnation and drive results. Welcome, Jerrid. Thank you so much for your time. But why don't you quickly tell a little bit of story and how you get to where you're, from being a TV weather guy and all this stuff to where you're doing now.
Sure. Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate that very, very much. Great to meet you a couple of months ago, John, in person in San Francisco. Been out there a couple of times. It's been fantastic. So, for those of you who live on the West Coast, big shout out to you, Tanya. Nice to have you in my circles, and great to meet everybody. It looks like we've got people on from all over the country. I love you guys, and again, a couple of you guys have popped on since I popped on 10 minutes ago. But you guys are all high octane. I work a lot with realtors, LOs. And you guys are like drinking the coffee early, which I like. I'm a high energy guy, so I appreciate that. Really quick, before I forget, I'll gladly send a signed copy of my book to anybody on here who's the VIP. So John and Tanya, you track kind of
Yeah.
the chats, so to speak. If there's somebody who kind of stands out as the VIP, most engaged on this call, I'll gladly send you a signed copy of my book. 100%, not a problem. Yeah, I used to be a TV weatherman. I was in the financial world for 10 years as well. I'm 47, 4 kids. I've got 2 teenagers, an 11-year-old and a 2-year-old at home. And so this is what I do full time now, but transitioned out of 2 10-year plus long careers. Why did I do that? Because I felt that uh, perhaps getting a little too deep right away, I felt like it really wasn't, my soul was crying for something deeper. Like there was a connection I was seeking. And we're going to talk about that today because everybody on this call wants greater results. They want to make more sales. Who doesn't want to make more money? But at the soul level, there's something deeper by which that we're seeking after. And we're gonna talk about that. I want to tee things up really quickly. I work with a number of people every single quarter, but also speak full time. This is my main job, so to speak. But I just had a call with a gentleman that I'm working with. He's an LO and he's based out of LA. And we hopped on the call. I said, "How's your week? Tell me what's up." He goes, "It's so weird." He goes, "My life isn't like in order, air quotes, but," he goes, "I have more peace than what I've ever experienced before." And he goes, "It's actually freaking me out. It's freaking me out that I'm not freaking out." And I was like, boom, boom. If you want to like summarize what it is that I'm trying to do, I think logic would say if I want to get more results, I got to grind harder, push harder, and put more energy into the system. Is working harder part of the equation? Yes. Yes, we have to work hard. Yes, we have to show up. We've got to network and do all the things that you guys do. 100%. That is 100% required, but 100% not enough. That will only produce a very capped outcome. It will get you so far, and you might get a couple of anomaly months or deals, right? But that thermostat will always be set to that program. So, what I subscribe to is that instead of just trying to cram more energy into an existing program, let's rewire the system. Let's rewire the program. I was listening to the chatter here before we, went live here in the last couple of minutes. And again, if there's ever been a group of people that has like dives into personal development and trying to grow, It's people in your industry. So I love that I don't have to spend a ton of time and just like lay down tons of foundation. You guys are very coached. You guys are diving into personal development. You understand kind of the inner game already. Most of you probably are already kind of down this road. And so I just want to help bring a little more light to this. And I want to give you a couple of tools here today. I'm going to share with you a framework that I base my entire keynote off of, but also when I work with people one-on-one, it's all based off of a specific framework. And so that's what we're going to go. That's what we're going to talk about here today. So again, I want you to leave here with a different perspective of your life, what you're going through, the things that you're being challenged with right now. This is all information and data, right? And if we have the audacity to see it with a specific lens, it will shine light on what this world is actually trying to give us. Okay. So let's kick things off with just a couple of foundational key things. I want to lay the framework, but like before we hop into the content, so to speak, like let's all hang our hats on some certain foundational beliefs. Okay. One key belief that I believe in now, and I didn't for the first 43 years of my life, and I really try to hammer this home with people, is that everything in your life is happening for you. Everything is happening for you. If you live just on the top of the ocean, right? Like if you were to like sail out into the middle of the ocean, especially in the middle of a storm, like you're on that boat and you're getting tossed around by the waves, there's wind, there's chaos, there's white water, but beneath you, there might be 2, 3, 4 miles of ocean water. And if you've ever scuba dived, there can be a storm on the surface, but you just go down 20, 30, 40, 50 feet. And what's down there? What's the atmosphere down there? No pun intended. It's calm. There's peace. It's quiet. For 43 years, I lived on top of the ocean, just being batted around by life. And life was, I don't want to over dramatize it. It was grueling. It was me trying to stay ahead of the chaos all the time. I was raised in a trailer home by a single mom. My mom struggled fiercely with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem. She had an alcoholic father. My dad lived 3 states away. My brother, who has since passed, was an alcoholic. So there was nothing but chaos in my life. And so that developed a program that life is just running away from uncertainty. Life never felt like it was happening for me. It was always happening to me. And that developed a program that I have now reshaped, and the world now becomes color. So one thing I want to lay down here, like right away at the call, everything in your life. And it may not seem that way, guys, because again, if you're living on top of the ocean, it's the markets, it's the war, it's the bombing, it's the politics, it's the deal that fell through, it's the annoying client, it's my phone that never stops ringing with an endless series of problems. If you're living in that top 1%, that's how it will seem. But what I want to tell you is that everything is happening for you. It's all a test. If you're taking notes, write it down. It's all a test. Everything that's happening to you, it's all happening for you, and it's all a test. In the eyes of this world, there is no good or bad. It just is. See, we want to like, we want to categorize like, well, this is good, and this is a blessing, this is amazing, this is bad, and this is challenging. Yeah, yes and no. The good things are trying to mold and shape you, but you know what? The challenging things are as well. I've had to change my vocabulary on this. I used to say bad things are happening all the time, and now I stopped saying that. I say challenging things are happening, but just because
I
it's
like
challenging.
that. I love that paradigm. That little switch right there, Jerrid, is perfect. I love it. Thank you.
Mhm. So a lot of you on this call, you're going through challenges. Just because they're challenges doesn't mean that they're bad. In fact, you could argue that the challenges are the meat. Those are the golden tickets our soul is actually crying out for. You see, we want ease, right? We want safety. That's what we want. Your body, we'll get into this, your body's craving safety, but your soul is craving expansion. How does your soul expand to a new level? It needs to rewrite a program. Well, how the heck do you do that? Well, you gotta practice operating in a different program. Well, how the heck do you do that? You got to be challenged. You have to. And I want to let you know that there is no coincidences, there's no chance, there's no happenstance. Everything that is happening in your life and has happened is with divine precision. Your life is
Hey,
more
Jerrid, real quick.
Go ahead.
I know you're on a roll and I hate to interrupt you, but I think there's probably several of us here that are on top of the ocean right now. Whether it is the buyers are super demanding, sellers are expecting things that are just unrealistic right now. Transactions are not nearly the same as they were 2 years ago, or they're crazy, insane busy. You know, their business sucked 2 years ago, and now they're drowning and they're a little lost.
Mhm.
So, how does one get themselves from above the ocean
Mhm.
down into the calm, but still manage the craziness that our business truly is?
Yep. Yeah, great question. So here's what I say to that, and I mean this with all due respect. When your life looks like a you know what show, right? You know what? That's good. Okay. Let me
Okay,
say it
that's
again.
right there. How do we make that shift in
Okay.
thought? Because that
We have
sounds
to,
amazing, but realistically in our lives,
yep. When I have people that come to me and want help and they're just like, this is a you know what show, this is a you know what show, this is a you know what show, and I
we
have no
could just
momentum
say
here.
it's a shit show. We just
Yeah.
like to
And
say it.
and when I say that, I've got kids in the background, and my
Oh,
wife hates when I use that word.
sorry.
In an earshot of the kids, I do it all the time anyway. Um, But when that is happening, I'm like, good. Now I've got something to work with because there's something that's pressing in. Like again, with all due respect, I want to respect people on the West Coast. Before there's a cataclysmic shift in the tectonic plates, before an earthquake, because what we're looking for a shift. We're looking for movement. We want the breakthrough. Well, what happens before a breakthrough? What happens before an earthquake? There's pressure.
Mhm.
And so if we're living in the 1% without the right goggles on, we will view all the pressure as bad and what the heck is happening, and this is always a you know what show, and this will never change, and it confirms an old program that this world is actually trying to bust you out of. So it takes you understanding the technology. So Tanya, I want to answer your question from a 30,000 foot view. We have to understand what's actually happening, and that's what I want to do here today. But then I'm going to give you tools to be able to dive into that so you can start to rewrite your own wiring. Okay. But first, we've got to spend a little time on it. Is that fair? So
That's
let's get
fair.
a
So
different
far, right now, I
perspective.
think everybody needs to grab a sticky and write, "This is good." Apparently, we just need to remind ourselves that.
I had a call last night. One of my coaching clients calls me. He's like, "This, I had a really bad day, and here's what happened." And you know, what I said, I was like, "Amazing, amazing," because it's all a test. See, if you can start to rewire the programming, understand what's actually happening, understand that everything's happening for you, understand that even though this world seems chaotic, it's actually not. It's actually divinely and precisely designed for me. Then all of a sudden, when the challenges show up, you're like, this is good. This is actually a good thing because this means that there's something profound on the other side. I will spare you all the details. John heard my keynote in San Francisco right after I launched my book at 46 years old and no backup plan and 4 kids. I got my identity stolen. I lost everything. Now, you want to feel like your nervous system is cranked into high gear. I was actually dry heaving, screaming like a child on the bathroom floor by the end of that day because it felt like I had lost everything. And a good friend of mine named Craig Siegel said to me, he goes, Jerrid, this is going to be the best thing that ever happens to you. And it sounded insane. Now, that was a year and a half ago. And now I understand the technology, Tanya. Now I understand the technology. Why? Because I had to go through it. I needed somebody chattering in my ear saying, no, 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 no. I know you want to freak out and go back to the old program and do what you've been doing for 46 years, but I'm going to challenge you. He's like, surrender this thing, let it go. And he goes, just be at ease and fight the old program. And I did it. And something shifted inside of me. I'm getting ahead of myself here in my content, but this is what we're going to talk about here today.
Well, they
So
say you got to go through the fire to become a diamond, right?
if God wants to make you David, he will send you Goliath. It's
Amen.
a good thing. This is a
Yep.
good thing. Okay. So let's walk through these. Everything's happening for you. It's all a test. It's neither good or bad. I believe in this crazy belief that the more successful we get, the more peace and connection we should actually experience. How many times have we experienced the opposite? It's like the more successful I get, the more my business grows, the more chaotic and less happy I get. Now, again, I've gone through seasons where, like, in fact, when I first started my business, that first year was a grind. And I got to the end of last year, and I was like, this ain't it. And I had to do like a pivot. I did, and again, I had to look inside. It wasn't a problem with the world. It wasn't even a problem with my business. There was something inside of me that needed to shift. It's all an internal game. If you can't tell, I'm an internal guy. Yeah, I can teach you some X's and O's. And there's other people here that will show you X's and O's on how to operate your business. I'm always going to revert to what is happening, because everything that's happening in your life is a mirror reflection of what's going on the inside. I want to show us, if you're taking notes, write this down. I've been hammering this all week with the people I work with and online. It's not what you do, guys. Strategy is important. X's and O's. There's things you're going to have to do. It's not what you do. It's where you're doing it from. It's the internal posture. It's the programming by which you're operating from. That is the goal. If you want to break through and you want to go to the next level, you have to shift where you're coming from. What do I mean by that? There's a word I'm going to hammer in here today. Write it down now, because you're going to hear me talk about it more. It's called wholeness. Wholeness. We need to be operating from a state of wholeness. What's the opposite of wholeness? Lack, fear, scarcity, insecurity, old programming. Fill in the blank. Right? And once you understand the programming, you will spend more time getting yourself to a posture of wholeness. And when you operate from that place, everything then that outflows from it has almost supernatural power, even though it may look the same. Because the doing is, again, networking, trying to close deals, reaching out to people, solving problems. Right? But if you're doing that from a place of panic and you're looking at your bank account, your pipeline, and holy crap, it's never going to work out. And holy, I just got to make a flipping sale. And you're operating from a place of fear, lack, and scarcity, which is where I operated from, because I grew up in a trailer home with a mom who worked for three minimum wage jobs to support me. And everything had a price tag. And I could feel every time money left our household as a kid, I could feel the pinch. I took that program into my adulthood and I operated from that level. And guess what? It got me this much money. And I would joke with my wife a couple of years ago. I said, I can make this much money in my flipping sleep, but I can't make a penny over that. It doesn't matter where I live. It doesn't matter what industry in. It doesn't matter who I work for. I can make this much money, but God help me, I can't make $1 over that amount. And then I started shifting the program, and I started shifting who I am on the inside. And guess what happened to my income as a result? Started to go up. There's a word out there called magnetic. I want you to be magnetic. There is more business in your backyards that would blow your mind. There's no lack of business out there. True or false? True. So if it's there and you're the person to help the people create the connections to get paid, then it's not a lack problem. It's let's change the internal thermostat so we then become magnetic to it. Okay. Another foundational belief, and I want to move on here, but we got to lay the groundwork here. Our job in this world is to receive. Yes, yes, we're givers and we're providing value. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking at a soul level. Our job is to receive. God's the giver. I don't want to go too off the rails on spirituality. And by the way, wherever you stand on that, in that camp, I'm totally cool with. But I'm just going to let you know that there is some source out there that wants to give you something more. And our job is actually to receive it. And that divine source has everything that you need. And it's all right there. And as soon as I get out of the way and I stop blocking the technology, I stop blocking the plumbing because of my own internal thermostat, then the doors open up to receive. And I'm just telling you, I could tell you stories after stories. I've experienced this in my own life in the last several years. I'm experiencing it in real time. And the people that I help are experiencing it in real time to where it blows their mind. They're like, it's weird. As soon as I stopped doing that, boom, I got an email. As soon as I didn't react to the old program, boom, my phone rang. And I'm like, shocker. Of course it is. We live in a cause and effect world. When you do something different, it opens the door for a new result. If you want a new result like I do, that means we have to stop the programming and start operating from a different place. Okay? Really quick. Any comments on that, John or Tanya, here before we move on?
Yeah, I want to know how people hit the switch. How do you stop the chaos going on in your head and turn it around to the
Love
mantra
it.
of I'm ready to receive.
Let's do an exercise.
Yes.
Today is May 7th. Let's fast forward to December 31st. Let's go into the future. Last day of the year. I want you, everybody on this call, to start thinking and going in your mind, who are you at your most optimal level? Now, that could be from a business perspective, but like almost deeper than that. Like, who are you at at a soul level? How is that person showing up in this world? By the way, I'm going at lightning speed here, so I apologize. But like, if you were to look in the mirror and be like, okay, here's who I am right now. Here's my operating level. But in the future, if I was operating at like on all cylinders, as they say, cranking on all cylinders, what would I look like at my most optimal, abundant level? How would I be showing up? How would my superpower be showing up? What would my business look like? How many employees would I have? How many people would be on my team? How many deals would I be doing every month? What would be my revenue? Go there in your mind. Let me just share you an example because again, we don't have time to go around the whole horn here. But I worked with a group of insurance agents recently and did like a lunch and learn. And I walked through this exercise over this lunch and learn. There's one guy named Scott who was actually giving, by the way, insurance agents, they're not high octane like you guys. I love them, but I love the energy of you guys. But so they're low key. But there's one guy who was giving me something. And I said, Scott, and he was 60. I mean, it's not like he was a spring chicken. He's been in business a long time. I said, who are you, Scott, by the end of this year? Describe your business. He goes, I would have 2 more employees, and I'm on the whiteboard writing this down. I go, keep going. He goes, I would have more freedom on Fridays. It would be kind of a me day. I'm just right. He's just spitballing. I'm just writing it down. And he's starting to visualize him operating at his highest level. I go, keep going. I go, how much money are you making? He goes, well, I'd be making, X amount of dollars per month. That would be my baseline. I'd have this many clients, new clients coming in. He talked about having a second home with his wife, which he's kind of ideating right now. So you got the second home, you're spending time down there. And he started to connect with who he actually was. And I framed it back to us. So I go, Scott, go there in your mind. You're working 5 days a week. You're working 4 days a week. Fridays are a fun day. It's a networking day. You're only working with the people that you want. You're working with the people that give you energy. You're being a magnet. You don't have to worry about money. This is how many clients are coming in. This is how, and I gave it back to him. I want you guys to go through that exercise. We don't have time to do it on the call now, but I want you to go there in your mind. Who are you at your most optimal level? And then this is the $1 million question, Tanya. I said, Scott, close your eyes. How does that make you feel? And he goes, I'd be happy. I go, keep going. He goes, I'd feel connected. He goes, I'd feel purposeful. I'd feel alive. And then he said the magic word. He said, I'd feel at peace. And I wrote it all down and I circled it. And I said, what you just described is the cry of the human soul. This is what we're after, right? No matter where I go, no matter who I talk to, no matter what industry it is, when I work through this exercise and I get to how do you want to feel, this is what everybody wants. See, this world will tell us that we need more money, bigger houses, more things. And by the way, I'm not against those things. I am for those things. Don't hear me wrong. But those things cannot fulfill the cry of the human soul. And if we program ourselves to think that more of that is how we get happiness and validation, we are running an old program that will only produce a specific result. And it not only does it hurt us, it hurts our ability to go to the next level. So high level, let's talk about this for a second. How do you get to that point?
First of all, that was incredible. I just want to say, getting down to that thing about peace was so powerful. Thank you. Go on, Jerrid.
So here's the cheat code. You need to train your body to feel that now. You need to train your thermostat, your nervous system. You've got to retrain the program to experience that right now, because there's 2 things at play in your life. You have your soul. And again, don't be afraid of that word. Use whatever word you want. You've got your soul. Your soul is optimized for the infinite. Your soul is infinite. There is no limit. Your soul is the thing that you connect to when you're meditating or reading, or right when you wake up in the morning, or right before you fall asleep, or when you go on a walk and you're just dreaming and you can see, and you're getting the downloads and you're connecting, you're getting excited, you feel alive, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's what I want. Like, that's what you're connecting to. And then what we do is our body is at fight with that, because our body is trained to be optimized to what's familiar, what's safe, what it knows. Everybody on this call, me included, we are running an unoptical, a less optical program than what our soul actually craves. And so we need to rewrite our program and reset the thermostat to that higher level, to our soul. So again, high level, how do we get there? We need to start practicing feeling peace now, despite the reality not current. Remember, the 1% on top of the ocean, that's the 1% that I would say 95% of people live in, and they never even know that there's something else out there. So while the world seems chaotic and out of control, which it does, I get it. You guys are in a very fast-moving world, and there's a lot of external circumstances that you have no control over. Can you tap into that buried peace? This is the cheat code. If you look at every self-help book, everything that has to do with money, they're talking about three things. How you act, do. You said I was a Dave Ramsey guy. Read any Dave Ramsey book. You want to make more money? Get out of debt. Stop spending so much money. Save money. Do better. Or they'll talk about how you think. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is a perfect example. If you want to change the results, just think differently. Just think about money. If you think about money all day, if you just think about money all day, money will be attracted to you because you get what you think about. Let me tell you, I've done this and it didn't work. I've seen people like hang $100 bills all over their office, and everywhere I look, I see money. And if I'm thinking about money, that means I attract money. I've done this, and guess what? It doesn't work. There's the third piece to the puzzle that we don't talk about. It's how you feel. You see, how you feel is the basis of the operating system, because if we can shift the thermostat, then we think differently, and thus our actions are differently. So I think it backs up. We got to back up to this feeling level. Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes money actually causes stress, right? So looking at dollar bills might not have that positive impact on some people if they're not at that other level.
I said that to my wife this weekend. If I just sit and think about money, I'm thinking about how much money I don't have. And it actually it's reinforcing my lack.
How much money I want, need.
Exactly. Because anytime that you feel that you don't have something, it's literally the opposite of wholeness. It's lack. Negative. Correct. So we have to come to a place of wholeness. Here's a mantra I use every single morning when I go for a morning gratitude walk. You can write these down, but you pick what you need to hear to reprogram. I say these 4 things every single morning. The first thing I say is, this is the best day of my life. Not I hope, not I wish. This is the best day. I never thought that for decades. I thought, here's another flipping day with another set of problems that I just have to endure. I then say, I lack nothing. I literally talk to myself in the third person. Jerrid, you lack nothing. You lack nothing. You don't lack anything. There's nothing you lack. There's nothing that anybody could give you or take away that you don't already have. And by the way, let's do a mental exercise. Let's say today is the freaking most amazing day ever. Let's say like, boom, 10 new clients show up out of nowhere. They just want to do work with you. You won the lottery. You didn't even know you bought a lottery ticket last night, but you blacked out. And you won the lottery. You got a phone call and you're like, dude, you just won $1 billion. And all of a sudden your Instagram followers go from 4,200 and they go to 8 billion. Everybody on earth follows you. Everybody adores you. Everything that you touch is literally turning to gold. Here's a pop quiz. Are you any more or less whole than you were before that happened? True or false?
False.
The answer is false. You're not, right? Let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Let's say you lose everything today. Let's say you lose everything. Let's say everything in your pipeline falls flat. You're supposed to close today on a deal. That falls through. You get you all of a sudden, you get appendicitis and your kids get, I'm not speaking this over, but let's call it, it's like the worst day. And you by the end of this day, you're like, what the crap just happened? You get your identity stolen. So on top of that, a bunch of people, they take your money and your identity, and you don't have any social media, and you have no business like the way I felt on December 3rd, 2024. True or false? Am I any more or less validated than before that happened? No. You want a perfect example of this? Read the book of Job in the Bible. That's not just a great story. It's explaining a technology called wholeness. This is what God's trying to show us. In fact, God approached the devil and he said, here, look at my servant Job. He's a good looking guy. He's got a hot wife. He's got great kids. He's got a lot of land. He's got a lot of riches. You do whatever you want with him. Do whatever you want with him and watch how he responds. Just don't kill him. Just don't kill him. And sure enough, the devil took one by one, took everything away, took his children away, his wife away, his riches. It gave him swords. He took his physical health away. And while he stood there naked and afraid and cold and having nothing, air quotes, have nothing, he said, I still honor my creator. That's a technology. That's a mental exercise I play every single day before I hop on this computer, before I hop on a call, before I hop on a sales call, before I start emailing. I have to get myself to that place. Some people say, how long's your walk? What do you say? Well, it's not about how long you go. It's not about what you do. It's about getting you to a place where you can reach that place of wholeness. Therefore, everything that you do throughout that day has this magnetic energy, because what you're doing at the below the surface is you're rewiring an old program so you can then receive more. So I say, today's the best day of my life. I lack nothing. I say, Jerrid, you have no problems. I need to tell myself that every day, because sometimes I look at my schedule and I'm like, I got a whole bunch of flipping problems. Here's the truth, capital T. Nobody on this call has any problems. Because I say the fourth thing, Jerrid, you only have challenges that are specifically designed to help you grow and expand. These are things I tell myself every single morning. And sometimes throughout the day, I have to remind myself of those things. Now, it would take me an hour many times a couple of years ago to get me to that place. And now I can get there like that. And sometimes, again, I make most of my money on stage, and oftentimes I get rejected. In fact, I get rejected more times than I get a yes. And there are times where I'm like, dude, I got this deal in the bag. And then boom, I get an email saying, hey, we went a different direction. And I feel like I lost something. I feel like something got taken from me. And then I have to go outside and just sip a cup of coffee and look outside and be like, but Jerrid, did anything get taken from you? And the answer is no. Yeah, but you never had it. That's not the point. You see, this world can't give you nor take away anything that you don't already have. You are validated because of who you are and who you were created to be. Nothing more, nothing less. The world could be given to you. You are no more valuable. Everything could be taken from you. You're no more or less valuable. So we need to train our nervous system to feel that, guys. Feel it. Don't just know it.
Feel it.
Feel it. Become it. Even amidst the craziness. That's why, let's go back to the beginning of this conversation. That's why when the chaos happens, amazing. Because this is how you practice. This is how you practice getting yourself to a state of wholeness amidst the chaos. Of course, it's easy to have certainty and belief when everything's going amazing. Of course. But what happens when ... fill in the blank? You see what I'm saying? So these things even the hard things are happening for us because this world understands that the veil between where we are today and our most optimal self, where we are clicking and we are receiving something that would blow our mind, the veil between that is the program that we are currently operating from. Hard stop. Before I move on, because I want to get into more, like I want to cover a quick framework and a quick tool that you guys can start utilizing right now to help reprogram ourselves. Hard stop. Questions or comments?
Because my question is, and maybe this is what you're about to get to, but how did you make that change? So I'm hearing you say, you have to practice. So here I am as a realtor. I'm thinking, all right, I got to time block this. I have to put it in my calendar.
Yep.
That's what we're all thinking. We are.
That's me.
People.
Time block
it's
it.
Here. You guys are gonna start putting on the goggles because everything is speaking to you. There will be something. I guarantee there'll be something that will happen by lunchtime that if you're aware enough. And by the way, in personal development, everybody talks about awareness. Oh, you want the key to change? Awareness. Awareness just makes you aware of it. It doesn't change anything. You know what changes something? You become aware of it, and then you make a different choice that makes you really uncomfortable because it's going against the old program. Remember my buddy from LA who I talked with yesterday? I talked about him right at the beginning of the show. I'm teaching him this technology, And the first thing he says on my call yesterday is he's like, it's crazy. Like there's still chaos everywhere. But he goes, I have more peace than I've ever experienced, and it's freaking me out. Let's dissect that for a second. Why is he experiencing peace? Because he's becoming whole. I'm teaching him how to exercise and flex this muscle of wholeness. By the way, like you understand, how do you build muscle? You go to the gym. What's happening at the gym? You're breaking down muscle. And then on the other side of that, you actually build muscle up. But there's a step in between there, isn't there? What do you have to do in between the gym and building muscle? You have to eat protein. Okay? Life will throw you curveballs. We'll say, oh, it's chaos and I just have to avoid it. I'm just trying to like solve problems and pray my problems away. No. This is a breakdown. This world's trying to break down your old programming. Because if we can break down the other programming, there's growth, expansion. Now all of a sudden we become magnetic. We start receiving the things that we know are waiting for us. But there's a step in between there, isn't there? The step in between there, write this word down, it's huge. Certainty. Certainty. We live in a cause and effect world. There's a cause and there's an effect. The problem is that there's time in between these two events. The time in between the two events is the magic. This is the magic zone because it gives us the opportunity to exercise and flex the certainty muscle. What's another word for certainty? Belief. What's another word? Faith. Bible says faith is believing in the things not yet seen. Hallelujah. Holy cow. I have to know and trust that this is a cause and effect world. And I know if I don't react to the old program, there's going to be a new result, but it might take a while. And in that interim, we have to flex the muscle of certainty. So is anybody on this call going through something uncertain right now? Of course. But can you train your body? Correct. Can you exercise delusional faith? I love this word, delusional. Why can't we be delusional? We're told as kids, don't be so delusional. Why not? Why not when it looks like on the outside that our world is falling apart, that I on the inside don't think, don't hope, don't cross my fingers and hope to die, but no. I'll give you a quick example. In the course of 6 months, I lost my identity right after launching my business and launching my book. That one scared the bejesus out of me. And I had my friend Craig say, dude, this is amazing. 3 months later, my mom passes away and I felt elevated. 10 weeks later, my brother overdoses on alcohol. By the midpoint of last year, I'd had my identity stolen and I lost half of my family. On the outside, it looked like my life was falling apart. And strangely enough, just like my buddy in LA, I had more peace with every cataclysmic event because I understood what was actually happening. And the hotter the fire, the bigger the thing that's coming to me. That sounds insane to the old Jerrid programming. The old Jerrid program, we go like, here we freaking go again. Another thing, and it would reinforce the self-pity and the resentment and the bitterness that I lived in for 43 years. Okay? I know I want to open this up for a little bit of questions. Let me give you a very quick framework and a really quick tool that you can start using right now. The framework by which I spiel everything from stages to one-on-ones is desire plus belief minus attachment. Write it down. Desire plus belief minus attachment. We could do a whole series just on this framework, but I'll just give you the basis. I want you guys to have a burning desire. I want you guys to spend time disconnected and have delusional belief over what is actually possible. When you do that, you actually create the capacity to receive something. That's my coffee cup. I look at our inside as a container. If our job is truly to receive, we got to have a container to receive it. True or false? What creates the container? Desire. Show me somebody that's built something incredible without a burning desire. It's always there every time. You will not get anything in life if you don't have a burning desire for it. So desire, you got to go all in. You got to put in the work. This is the effort. This is the X and O's. This is the masculine energy, whatever word you want to use. What then fills the cup? Belief. Where do we exercise and flex that belief muscle? when the shit's hitting the fan. I don't think my kids are up yet. That's why when it's chaotic and uncertain, this is good. Because if you've created the container, now you're giving the world an opportunity to fill it. I won't go into the nuances, but there's 3 specific areas I want you to have belief in. I want you to have belief in your cause, what you're doing. I want you to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. But I want you to believe that you actually deserve it. This is the one that high achievers struggle with the most, and it's the most buried in our subconscious. We don't have time to go into it, but I want you to dive into what you truly believe about yourself. That will be one of the biggest hangups. If you have some subconscious belief that you don't think that you deserve it, and you can replace that with truth, the doors of receiving will open up. The floodgates will open up, because this world is trying to get you to understand that you actually deserve it. And the third part is minus attachment. You take desire, and then you believe, and then you subtract attachment. That's where now, no matter what happens, this cup, I'm totally cool. This is you surrendering. That's a great word, surrender. This is Job after everything's been taken. You know what? I still stand for my creator. I want it, but I don't need it. The definition of this whole thing summarized: I want more, but I don't need it. I have a burning desire for it. I believe it. I believe that I deserve it, but I don't need it. That's wholeness, guys. Lack, fear, and scarcity is I want it and I need it, period. There's a huge difference in that. Okay. I'm going to give you a very quick tool that you can start exercising right now, and then we'll open it up for a little Q&A. Deal? When you are triggered, which will happen, if you're paying attention, it's happening all the time. It might be something big. It might be something little. It might be you getting stopped at a stoplight when you're late, and there's that microsecond that the old program takes over. Can you stop? Step number 1, stop in that moment. Not the next day, not next week, this weekend when you're journaling and you're reviewing. No. In that microsecond that the old program wants to run the application, can you stop the process? And by the way, this is why we can't think ourselves out of problems, because it takes your brain 1/3 of a second to process a thought. Your old program is running on the cortisol hormones in your body, and it happens instantaneous. It happens faster than you can catch it most of the time. That's why you got to be on it. That's why you got to have the goggles on. You got to be watching. Antenna's got to be up. So that could be an email. That could be a phone call. That could be a thought. Our body loves cortisol. The most addictive chemical in this world isn't nicotine or alcohol or cocaine. It's cortisol. We love to feel the stress. It's wild. It's a non-optimal state, but that's what our bodies crave. I don't get it. And my body wants to like have a negative pity party that's full of resentment and blame people. If I'm not aware of that, that's where my body is optimized, and it sucks. So in that moment when my kid spouts off to me, or I get the email, or I get turned down for a speaking, you fill in the blank, you stop, and then you do the second thing. You say, "What a pleasure." I'm not joking.
So you're basically saying thank you.
Absolutely.
For the trigger.
Amazing. Yep. Because you now understand, you didn't before, but now you understand that the trigger is actually giving you information so you can make a different choice. So it's stop. You say, "What a pleasure," either audibly or internally. What are you doing? You are reframing that energy that was going to run the old program, and you're allowing it to make a different choice, because step number 3 is I want you to respond. Don't react. Most people are just reacting and running the same script over and over again. Don't react. Reacting is the subconscious is running the show, which, by the way, it is. So we have to rewrite the subconscious. And that means we're going to have to stop, reframe it, and then respond. Respond from where? If you've been paying attention, you know the answer. Respond from wholeness. It's not what we do, it's where we do it from. If I can stop, and when my ADHD daughter is throwing a fit, and if I can stop and not get offended, and I can say, "What a pleasure. This girl is in my life, albeit very difficult." All my kids, if you want to be, if you want difficulty, be a parent. It's hard.
Especially
if I want
it,
yeah. If I want it easy, you just don't have kids and don't get married. I mean, I get, with all due respect, because you don't do those things because it's easy. It's really hard. And so if I look at my life through the lens of easy, I'm pissed off that I'm married. I'm pissed off I got 4 kids. I'm pissed off that I got a neurodivergent kid. By the way, my oldest has dyslexia. I'm pissed off I've got all these challenges. But if I can stop and not rerun that program, because that's just a program, guys. That's not the truth. That's just an old program that I've created because of my experiences. But if I want a new result, I have to rewrite the program. So I've got to stop and I got to reframe that and be like, you know what? This is actually happening for me. And that's really hard because it's going against the old program. And then I respond from a place of wholeness. What would wholeness look like? What would your day look like? What would your emails look like? What would your phone calls look like? What would your networking look like today if you were coming from a place of pure wholeness? I'll tell you what it would look like. It'd be purely love and giving. All of it. Because if you're whole, you cannot take. By default, you cannot take if you're full. You can only give. And so many times, we're trying to help people, but we're trying to take. And this is really wild because we're in business. And so it's like we have to make money, right? But as you know, if you're just out there trying to chase a closing, that's bad energy. You'll get some. But if you truly want to go to the next level, rewrite the program and operate purely from a place of wholeness. And you will be operating at a different level. So the challenge for you today, stop what a pleasure, respond from wholeness, and start practicing this immediately. And I'm going to tell you, dude, by noon today, you'll have a dozen opportunities if you're paying attention. And then like the Matrix, everything will slow down. And all these things will be happening to you, and you're going to be seeing the bullets fly by, and you'll see exactly what's actually happening instead of being tossed and turned by the waves of the ocean, because you're not living on the 1% anymore. You're living in the 99. You're living in the peace. And what you are doing, unbeknownst to you, is you are rewiring and reprogramming your subconscious. And that is the ultimate separator between where you are today and a life that would absolutely blow your mind. That's the challenge today. Let's talk about it.
So, Jerrid, you mentioned they have a daily mantra. You only shared 2. What are the other 2? You said there were 4.
Yep. Today's the best day of my life. I lack nothing. I have no problems. I only have challenges to help me grow and expand.
Thank you.
Yep. That's what Jerrid needs to hear. Don't say them because I said them. And by the way, I don't get caught up in, I'm not like sitting in meditation. These are just things that are constantly flowing through my mind. When I am triggered, when I lose out on the deal, when something goes awry and that old program wants to run, I have to remind myself and go there. Mavis, you got a question?
More of a comment, quite frankly. As soon as you said you made the joke with your wife that I can make this much money, but I can't make a penny more of it, I will share with you, my first year at Compass, I left a company I was at for 22 and a half years, and I made all kinds of money my first year at Compass. And I was like, oh, this is just what I needed. I just needed to break free from that. And slowly but surely, I've gotten back to that thermostat
baseline
point.
Yep.
And it isn't actually, I shouldn't say it's that slowly, because it was pretty, like as soon as I saw how much money I made that first year, then suddenly it was like, whoa, you're not a person who makes that much money. And it went back. And recently for me, I was, I'm not a spring chicken either. And so I had this mortgage, and I've been saying, I'm going to get rid of the mortgage. So I was making extra large payments so that I could be free from debt, right? I wanted absolutely no debt. So what happened this year? I racked up all kinds of other debt. So somehow I'm back. I paid the mortgage way down, and then I layered on this new debt by trying all kinds of other things, and I've layered on this new debt. And I looked at it and I thought, I'm back where I was when I was trying to pay the mortgage off. It's like I have this level of debt, good debt, bad debt, whatever you want to call it. But I have this level of debt now that when I look at it over time, it has stayed the same.
Okay, so let's break this down. Thank you for sharing that. Just for the sake of time, we're just going to go fast. Why did you come back down to that level? Because you're running an old program. The program has a very defined output, and you may have an anomaly year or quarter or deal, but ultimately it'll always come back to the old state. So what I want you to do is I want you to get really curious. Why? I ask myself why all the time. Why? And sometimes you don't get an answer, Mavis. But like, for example, there's another gentleman I work with. He sells insurance. He's 62, stuck as all get out, knows there's something more. And I said, when you are triggered, his name's Kevin. I said, Kevin, when you are triggered, what is being said to you in that moment? So before you take on more debt or make a purchase or think a thought, Mavis, I want you to get really curious. Why do you think that? And Kevin kind of stuffed it off. He's like, I'll have to think about that. I have no idea, blah, 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 blah. Because when he's triggered, he feels like a piece of garbage. He feels like he's just an idiot, yada, yada, fill in the blank. We all feel that, right? And then I started talking again. He's like, wait, I got it. He goes, when I was in second grade, I had a lazy eye. And he goes, whenever I would read, my lazy eye caused me to go back to the same line. And I struggled with that. And my teacher made a comment, and my friend next to me made fun of me. I said, interesting. When was the last time you thought about that? He goes, it's been 50 years. But I go, is it possible that you've created a program and you're always trying? The reason why you can't go to the next level, Kevin, because this guy has dove in the books. He's gone to conferences. He's tried hard things. He's done all the things, and he cannot go to the next level. And I said, Kevin, I go, it's because you're running an old program. And that dude texted me that night, 11 o'clock at night, in tears. He goes, this has been the biggest breakthrough of my life. I said, for 54 years, you've been running that program. And he's like, I feel like I'm free. We had a call yesterday. He's like, dude, I got 3 prospects out of nowhere. And my people at my company are noticing that like the people that are coming in are actually like the most ideal clients. Ding, 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 ding. I said, Kevin, coincidence? Pop quiz. He said, no. I said, exactly. You see, everything that you want, Mavis, and everybody on this call is waiting for you. It wants to be given. It's trying everything it can to be pressed into your life. But it can't be given to you if you don't have the cup worthy to receive it. How do we create the cup? Desire and plus belief. We got to believe in ourselves, our cause, and by golly, we got to believe that we deserve it, Mavis. There's something inside of you that's running an old program, and that is the thing that's going to try to unlock you. You can do and pay off debt. You can do, but it will only create a very specific output. So I'm going to challenge you to get really curious about that. If you want to hop on a call with me for 15 minutes and dissect some stuff, I would love to do that for you just as a free gift. Fair?
That sounds wonderful to me.
We'll do a text intro later, maybe.
Please do. Yep,
Yeah.
please
Okay,
do.
last question, Marco.
Yeah.
Thank God you're not the subway guy, or this would have been a totally different call. Oh my God. Jerrid, thank you so much. There wasn't one thing you said that didn't resonate to me. Not one thing. It's commonality. It's like I always think of the Matrix Unloaded. I think of causality, where they talk with this causes and effect, and all of that, and it's that mind stuff that just works. And I don't know if it's because I'm 35 years sober, but because of that, I've seen hell, and my life today is so rewarding. And I wake up every morning, just doesn't matter what turmoil is going on. I'm just so grateful. And I put myself basically in a service mode without looking to get back, because I've been told there's nothing to get. There's nothing to get. There's nothing to get. Just give. And I don't do it like I have to. I do it because I enjoy it, and I feel like in some regards I've found the secret, and yeah, I could be richer, but it doesn't matter. This is what I love. I'm incredibly happy. So thank you for what you brought today. It was really powerful.
Amen. Congratulations on being sober. One thing to piggyback off that, thank you for sharing. When you become whole, some would argue, well, then my desire, then all of a sudden I'm not going to be motivated. If I have everything, then what's the point of getting out of bed? No. When you are whole, you're connected to your soul, and your soul wants more. It's infinite, right? And so that actually creates the atmosphere of real willpower and work. That's your best work will flow from that place when you don't need it. And then secondly, I always have my people fill out an accountability form, and I dropped a bomb on them this week. Because a lot of people say like, well, this week was a 7. They have to rate their week, on a scale of 1 to 10, 7s, 5s, whatever. And I said, why wasn't it a 10? They're like, well, this day I kind of I doom scrolled a little bit and I could have done better and I could have utilized my time. I could have done better. And I said, so are you connecting your value with you doing? Well, kind of. I said, well, we don't find our value in our doing. We find our value in who we are. Oh, so if you're going to rate your week on your doing, sure, it's an 8. But I go, on your true value, how would you rate this week? Well, I guess a 10. Exactly. Because this week, what happened this week is irrelevant. You see my point? Like that's a state of wholeness. Like this week could be the most amazing week ever. It's a 10. This week could be the worst week ever. It's a 10 because again, it's a little bit of a trick question because I'm having them rate their week on progress and stuff. I get it. It's kind of it's kind of a catch and switch, a bait and switch, right? But I would challenge you, like, look at your days and your weeks based on your validity. And for high performers, it is the one that is buried the deepest, but will unlock the biggest breakthroughs if you can figure that one out. It sounds like Marco's done that, and now he's free. Can you feel the peace in his voice? There's ease, there's calm, and I would bet you Marco's a freaking ass kicker in this business. I bet you he is. Why? Because he's operating from a place of wholeness. This is, but I bet you he also works really freaking hard too. So it's both and. It's not grind yourself into the ground, but it's not sit around and sing Kumbaya all day every day and just watch the money flow. And it's both. It's both.
You still have to work. You still have to
absolutely.
Show up. Yeah.
That's the desire piece. That's the desire and the belief. If I truly have a desire and I believe in my cause, you will be working. You'll be going all in. You will be crushing it on the masculine energy. But you will be completely submitted and surrendered it well at the same time. And that creates an atmosphere of peace. You guys got it. I love it.
Well, Jerrid,
who's the winner? Who's the winner?
Tradition. Oh, it's Katie Dooley all day long. She's been so active in the chat today.
Boom. All right,
we will send you her address and everything. But
we do have a quick tradition that we do. We call it a rapid 6 at 6, even though now it's almost 7. We might need to change that. But just real quick off the cuff questions, if you don't mind. I'll get us started with dogs or cats.
I have to say cats because I have cats on my farm and I know my kids can hear me. So I have to say cats by default.
That's important. Do you have a movie or a book or maybe even a podcast that you go to again and again for inspiration?
Honestly, The Matrix, I'm not a movie watcher, but The Matrix is really fascinating to me because it's explaining a technology. I love that. Kathy Heller, everything I talked about, she reinforces that in this book. I'm reading this right now. It's an amazing book. David Guillaume is another guy who I listen to a lot, and they talk about the technology. I love that. I love understanding the technology, how this world works. So there's a couple of resources for you.
Awesome. Love that. Favorite ice cream?
You guys, mint chocolate chip. That's easy. That's a no-brainer.
Oh,
we've had a few people say that.
Favorite ice cream too. Yeah. Nice.
That's easy.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee all day long.
If you could go anywhere in the future or in the past, where would you go and why?
Oh man, I've got a default to my laurels here. I would say nowhere. I'd say right now.
Oh, I love that answer.
I have to choose to believe that right now is you can only connect with your soul in this moment.
Nice.
Like this is the moment. It wasn't back then. It's not up there. It's right now.
I love it. That's a new one. And lastly, what are you doing after this call?
Wash his mouth out with soap. He's going to wash his mouth out for soap for saying shit.
You know what? I'm going to go sit out on a deck for just a little bit. I got another call here in a half hour. This is my 10-acre ranch in Minnesota. And it's a really nice day out today. So I'll probably just going to hang outside and maybe play with my 2-year-old here for a little bit before I hop on my next call.
Beautiful. Well, we want to thank you so much. This has been truly an amazing gift. So from a space of gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you. We truly appreciate it.
I don't know if it's in the chat, you guys. You're blowing up. People are texting Tanya and I right now. They had to jump off a little early to go to a meeting. We're going to be putting this recording out in the next 2 hours to everyone. Thank you so much. You are on fire. appreciate you so much.